In this step, we check the reference voltage for the plunger ram and mechanical stop positions. Press Reset, Recall, 61, Recall. This puts us in a special calibration mode. The number to the right of RF, which stands for reference, on the display is the current reference voltage. It should be 10.00 volts DC plus or minus 0.01. If needed, adjust R22 on the SCC board. R22 is either the middle of the three pots on the left side of the board if you have the older style board, or the pot farthest right closest to the green tab if you have the newer style board. This test checks, and if necessary calibrates, the R1 voltage, which is what determines the piston position. R1 is the taller of the two blue potentiometers. First, fully retract the piston, then observe the number to the right of PL, which stands for plunger, on the display. It should be 0.23, 0.24, or 0.25 volts DC. If necessary, we will adjust the gear on R1 to get a proper reading. To do this, loosen the two screws holding R1 in place enough so that the R1 gear is no longer engaging the transfer gear it is attached to. Adjust the gear to get a reading of 0.23 to 0.25 volts DC on the display, then re-secure R1. This test checks, and if necessary calibrates, the R2 voltage, which is what determines the MS plate position. Press the level up arrow on the display. Because we are in this calibration mode, this causes the MS plate to move to what it thinks is its calibration position. This should be the position we need it to be in for calibration purposes, but it may not be exact. We may need to manually move the plate a little bit. Turning this gear will move the MS plate back and forth. However, notice when we try to move the plate in one direction or the other, the MS motor moves the plate back because this is where the system thinks the plate is supposed to be. For that reason, we are going to disconnect one of the leads to the MS motor. This will allow us to move the MS plate without the motor fighting it. Now we can move the MS plate until you get a reading of 0.86 to the right of MS on the display. Now, using the forward button on the injector head, run the plunger plate into the MS plate at full speed, then check the PL voltage on the display. It should be exactly 1.01 volts DC. If the reading is off, fully retract the piston with the reverse button on the injector head, readjust the position of the MS plate, backward to decrease the voltage, forward to increase the voltage, then drive the plunger plate into the MS plate again and check your PL voltage. Repeat this procedure until you get a PL rating of 1.01 volts DC with the two plates impacted. Now observe the MS reading on the display. It should be 0.86, 0.87, or 0.88. If necessary, we will adjust R2 in the same manner you adjusted R1. You will need to remove the metal plate covering R2, loosen the two screws holding R2 in place, and adjust its gear to get an MS reading of 0.86, 0.87, or 0.88, then tighten R2 back down. When finished, ensure the MS pot gear is in contact with the brass gear but has some wiggle to it. Do not move the plates or reattach the MS motor lead just yet. This step ensures the proper operation of the MS Microswitch. With the two plates still touching, observe that TSW is showing on the right side of the display. This indicates that the small blue MS Microswitch is operating properly when it is opened. This microswitch is what electronically stops the injection if the two plates should ever come in contact with each other. Using the reverse button on the injector head, fully reverse the plunger. Observe that TSW is no longer on the display. Using the forward button on the injector head, run the plunger plate into the MS plate again. Observe that TSW is once again on the display. If not, the MS Microswitch needs replaced. When finished, fully reverse the piston and reconnect the MS motor lead. Then press the level down button on the display. This will reposition the MS plate back to its home position.